What's up guys, Perry from Rockville here, and today I'm going to explain all of the inputs, outputs, and controls for the Pre-70V. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in the preamp, power it on, and break down all of the controls, inputs, and outputs. So let's start with the front of the preamp. On the left here, we have the mode button to switch the input source for the preamp. So if we plugged in a USB thumb drive or an SD card, it would switch to that source right away. But we can also use the mode button to switch to Bluetooth mode, FM radio mode, etc. We also got the music playback buttons like the pause and play button, the skip forward, and the previous button. We also have a menu button, which also acts as a record button for our USB or SD card. And we also have a repeat button to repeat our tracks. On the front, we have the 1/4-inch priority mic input, and we also have a second mic input on the back labeled mic 2 input. Above the first mic input, we have a chime button, which will let out a chime throughout each speaker, which comes in handy if we want to make an announcement on our microphone. Next to that, we have all of the controls for our microphone. So we have the mic 1 volume knob, the mic 2 volume knob. Then we have the echo knob, which gives microphone 2 an echo effect. Below that, we have the volume knobs for all of our different input sources. So first we have the line input volume knob, then we have the optical volume knob and the MP3 volume knob. Keep in mind you would also use the MP3 volume knob to control the volume of your Bluetooth device. Next we have the treble and bass knob to adjust the overall sound of our 70-volt system. We can use the treble knob to adjust all of the high-end frequencies and the bass knob to control all of the low-end frequencies. So if we felt like the system sounded a bit too harsh or on the high end, we can use the treble knob to adjust that. Or if we felt like the overall system was sounding a bit too bassy or boomy, we can use the bass knob to adjust the low end frequencies. Next, we have the master volume knob to control the overall volume of our system. And we also have a balance knob to even out the sound between the left and the right channel. So if we want to hear more from the left channel, we would turn it to the left. And if we want to hear more from the right channel, we would turn it to the right. We also have a volume meter for both the left and the right channel, so we know how loud exactly our system is. And next we have the volume controls for all of these zones. So you'll notice zones 1 through 4 are dedicated to the left channel, and zones 5 through 8 are dedicated to the right channel. Moving on to the back of the preamp, we have the output section for the left channel zones. So again, that's zones 1 through 4, and the output section for the right channel zones, which are 5 through 8. Each zone has the positive and negative terminals to connect to your 70-volt speakers. Next, we have the 70-volt outputs and inputs to connect to and from our external amplifier. So first you would want to connect from the 70-volt output on the back of your preamp to the inputs on the back of your amplifier. Then you would want to use the output from the external amplifier to the 70-volt left and the 70-volt right inputs on the back of the preamp. On the output terminals here, you'll also notice this symbol, which stands for the chassis ground. Now this acts as a link between the metallic parts of your preamp and the amplifier that you pair it with for a safe electrical connection. A common sign that your preamp and your amplifier aren't ground is by hearing a 60 cycle hum in your whole setup. And if you did want to ground your preamp and your amplifier, you would actually want to make this connection by using a ground wire. So you would take that ground wire and plug it into the metal chassis here on the back of the preamp and attach the other end to the body of your amplifier. To switch between stereo and mono, we have the stereo and mono button here. So when you press it in, you switch the preamp to mono mode, and when you have it pressed out, you have the preamp set to stereo mode. So in mono mode, the preamp would disregard the difference between the left and right channel so that you just have a total of 8 zones to use. And stereo mode gives you 4 stereo channels for 4 zones of left and right separation. We also have the RCA line input and the RCA line output to expand our setup even further to additional preamps or amplifiers. We also have the optical input if we wanted to set up our 70-volt system to our TV, gaming system, etc. And lastly, we have the FM antenna to strengthen the radio signal if we're using the FM radio mode. There's also a mic 1 mute knob here, which when raised up, lowers the signal of your microphone. So if we were to raise it all the way up, the microphone will be more quiet, and lowering it all the way down will have the full microphone volume. So hopefully this helped explain all of the controls, inputs, and outputs for the Pre-70V. But of course, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to reach out to our customer support team through phone or email. As always, I'm Perry from Rockville, and we'll see you guys next time.